And now, ladies and gentlemen, you know him as Cactus Jack, Dude Love. Hey, we love this dude, Mick Foley.
What the hell are you doing there, Bill?
Thank you.
Life can be kind of funny. Billy Graham, I believe, holds a record for selling out Madison Square Garden Superstar. How many times?
20 out of 21.
20 out of 21 times. And yet, up until a couple minutes ago, I'm sitting there at the table thinking, thank God I don't have to follow Dennis Stamps. And then Billy's got to break out that damn painting. And meanwhile, when he says, hey, I did a little painting of the Hardcore Legend, I'm thinking, I can't wait to see what I look like. Before I talk a little about Terry, I want to mention something to the comedians who've been up here. Listen here, you sons of bitches. There's such a thing as respect in our business, whether it's respect for someone's finish, respect for their seniority, and you don't step on that respect. And I know, before I went out here tonight, the last thing I said was, hey, I've got dibs on Graham's wardrobe. Thank you, Michael, for making me look good. No, I appreciate the thought of someone giving me the shirt off their back.
Maybe later.
But not in a literary sense. Listen, I was, like a lot of you, huge wrestling fan. And before the days of YouTube and TiVo, we did a little thing called tape trading. Yeah. And I had a buddy who's not with us anymore named Brian Hildebrand, one of the best guys we've ever met. You remember the gerbil, right, Alan? Yeah. Heck of a guy, and Brian and I would watch more wrestling matches. It was amazing how many hours would go by, and Brian would always take out these matches from Terry Funk in Japan. At the time, I was having a lot of trouble learning to throw a decent punch, and he would say, watch how Terry Funk does it. And man, I'd watch those punches, and it was like magic. It was like Houdini stepped into the ring. And then I got to work with Terry in Japan in 1991. And seeing his brother, Dory Funk, what an honor. And I was actually pleased, looking forward to that first big Terry Funk left hand. And it comes time, and I'm waiting for it, waiting to admire it. And Terry Funk proceeds to punch me as hard as he can in the forehead. I thought, holy shit. Wait, put the earmuffs on, kid, okay?
Too late.
It's too late for the earmuffs? Okay. How old are you? 10. How do you feel about Santa Claus? You don't believe in him? Well, that day in Japan, young man, it was like someone told me that Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and the Tooth Fairy didn't exist all at one time. Bitterly disillusioned. Because I thought to myself, what the hell, I could do that. Billy talks about art, and I kid you not, I was thinking about Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel on the way here. I was actually going to think of that. Now, Graham took that. Ryan Marr took the other Graham's wardrobe. But I would compare Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel. 7 years. I didn't know he slept there. He lived there for 7 years. And I think you look at that. It's in the Vatican, is it not? You look up and you think, how the hell did he do that? Which is what I had been thinking about Terry Funk before I worked with him. And then it became very, very simple. Terry's style was you just simply hit people as hard as you can. And there will be conversations about where Terry stands in the all-time list, whether he's up there with Flair or Harley Race or Billy Superstar Graham or the Von Erichs. But I maintain, and even Bret Hart would concede, that Terry Funk is the stiffest there is, the stiffest there was. And unless somebody proves him wrong, doggone it, he's the stiffest there ever will be. Thank you. But yet somehow this guy became an amazing influence on my career. And if I had to think of two specific moments where he was influential to come down, one moment in Japan in August of 1995, and then a moment at the ECW arena a few months after that. And while we were in Japan, we were preparing for a little goodie that they called the Kawasaki Dream, which has become better known as the King of the Death Match. And the two finalists in this tournament would face off in a little match where they would take down the ring ropes and put up these jagged, razor-sharp barbed wires instead. They also had barbed wire boards laced with barbed wire. And to kick it off, at the 10-minute mark, the ring was set to explode. In addition, these barbed wire boards had C4 explosives hooked up to them. Now, it was supposed to look like when we landed on the explosives, we would cause them to detonate. We didn't know at the time there was a guy up in like the second level with a button, and he would push that thing. And we wanted to see, the promoter wanted to show us, do you remember the story? What those explosives looked like. And they detonated those explosives, and it sounded like a cannon going off. Smoke was everywhere. And even though I have this reputation as being this hardcore, fearless guy, the thought that was running through my mind was, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And I didn't care that it was by far the biggest crowd I'd ever worked in front of. I turned to Victor Canonis and I said, no, there's no way, we can't do that. And then Terry said, no, it'll be fine, but what we need just a few more explosives right there in the middle. So, Terry, where the hell are we going to land? Doing the mathematics there, and it doesn't seem to be anywhere to land that we wouldn't be severely injured. Famous last words, now Cactus, we'll be fine. Neither one of us was fine after that match. God. I mean, I came home, and unlike Terry, who had a business class seat, I was in 26C by the can. And I got a call, come up to the desk there on Air Japan or Northwest Airlines, and they had bumped me up to business class because they felt sorry for me. And I looked at the woman next to me, and she was looking at me, and try to imagine what I would look like if I was, 14 years younger, with 42 stitches in 6 different parts of my body. And for those of you guys who've been to the doctor and had those stitches, you know you can't wash your hair immediately, which is really great news when your hair is burned and bloody. And not only that, the skin on my left arm began to fall off of me as the flight was en route. The woman, looking nervously at me, got up, I guess, to use the restroom, and didn't come back for quite a while. And when I looked to the back, she was sitting back there, somewhere around 26C, where I would have been, and she was just almost in a fetal position. And I don't know her religion, or even if she was religious, she appeared to be thanking God that she was no longer with that guy in business class. Remember those words? No, what we need is 2 more. And put them together with the moment at the ECW arena. Paulie liked to talk about the November to remember. I called this the October to forget. Thankfully, I believe I've met him 30 times. His name is Mike, right? He testified at our trial. The damnedest thing.
Thank you, Mike.
Oh, thank you, Mike. From the bottom of my wallet, thank you very much. And Terry, if you remember, I mean, the guy may have had reasonable cause to file a suit. He was at an arena. He did get burned. Despite what we maintained during the course of the trial, if you look at it, when those photos of the ring came back, there was about 1.5 feet between the ring and the guardrails, because they were trying to wedge as many people in that ECW arena as they could. Am I right? And now, only in ECW would you worry that the chair you were going to set on fire during the match would be overshadowed by the table that was set in fire the match before you went on. So I know I gave that chair an extra squirt of lighter fluid before we went out, and I don't think I was alone. But yet, when Terry was trying to lure me back into the ring after I had feigned a hand injury by saying to me, "Cactus Jack, your wife is a whore." Cactus did not materialize. "Your children," at that time there were only 2 of them, "your children are bastards." No Cactus Jack. "And Eric Bischoff is a homo." Bam! Out I came. Somewhere in the course of events, Raven taped a 5-pound plate to my foot and I kicked Terry in the nuts. A move I cannot believe has not been replicated since then. So simple and honest. And I picked up that chair, we set it alight, and in an incredible act of bravery, Tommy Dreamer dove on top of Terry just as I was swinging that chair and sacrificed his body. It could not have gone better until, I swear, this was the point of contention during the trial, I thought I heard the words. Terry swore under oath he never said the words, but I thought he said, "Use it again."
I never said that, Cactus. I never said that.
What? You'll get your turn, buddy. You'll get your turn. That's what I thought I heard. I remember vividly thinking, but how? The thing was ablaze. And I picked it up very gingerly, and I thought, I don't want to hit this guy. And when I swung it, Terry jumped out of the ring. And it appeared to my eyes like a giant fireball flew off the chair and ignited him instantly. Luckily, it was only the towel that was on fire that landed on Terry's back. So instead of engulfing him, it only caused, I believe, severe second-degree burns. Severe second-degree burns. And when I walked to the back, Terry was throwing large pieces of furniture with astonishing ease, using words that even we here at this roast have not heard to describe his feelings for me. And despite this intense scene that had taken place, and in spite of this genuine show and outpouring of emotion, I remember vividly thinking to myself, what a fucking baby. What a whiner. I got burned at the ECW arena. I swore to myself I'd never wrestle again. By the time I got to New Jersey, I swore I'd only wrestle in Japan. And by the time I got home, I thought, it wasn't that bad, was it? And the next day, there was a voice message, and it said, I did feel bad, man. I felt really bad. If anyone saw our pay-per-view where I wrestled Abyss, I still feel kind of bad about that whole Daphne thing as well. Did you see that? Severe concussion?
No,
oh, man. Okay. And there was a message on my machine, and it said, Cactus, this is Terry Funk, and I just want to say, I'm an old fool, don't listen to me, but we sure gave him something to talk about, didn't we? And we did give him something to talk about, and Terry Funk and I think, gave people something to talk about for a very long time. He has been an inspiration to me, to so many people up here. I don't think they had to ask very hard to get our guys up here to pay tribute to Terry Funk. At one point in this Japanese thing I was doing, my wife took note of the way I walked in the door. And, you know, at that time, we didn't really get stitches. We just kind of patched ourselves up. and did the best we could. Sabu, right? He brought super glue into the equation. And my wife looked at me and she said, Mick, couldn't you have found a different hero? And the truth is, if I had, I might walk a little better, I might look a little younger, but life, for me, would be so much less meaningful. If you gotta pick a mentor, a father figure, and Al Snow's already taken. Then you could do a lot worse than Terry Funk. And I look up here and I look at guys and I say, you know, here's Billy Graham, who sold out the Garden 20 out of 21 times. You know, J.J. Dillon, who I just happened to be on the wrong end of a pen when I was writing my autobiography, but who I made peace with and admire, part of the Four Horsemen. Kevin Von Erich, Kevin, I don't know if I've told you this, but that was one of the best things when we did that Devastation Incorporated reunion. You were never actually part of Devastation, but you were there, and it was great to talk to you. And I see Lacey, your niece there, and if Carrie was here right now, I would say, thank you, Carrie. Thank you. And you have to go back a while to find those old videos of Kevin and Sullivan and I as Sullivan's Slaughterhouse at a time when Turner Broadcasting wanted to be so politically correct. So Kevin came out with the smock without a smudge of blood on it. He was the neatest butcher that you could possibly find. At a time they were so politically correct when you couldn't even call a foreign object a foreign object. It was an international object. Mike, I've touched on your wardrobe. You were a master out there in the ring. Bill Apter, of all the people here, I believe you were the only one to photograph my wedding.
Yes.
And to do Big Bird and Grover imitations when my children couldn't fall asleep, no matter the time. And Missy Hyatt, you said some bad things about me, Missy. I don't care what year it is, you are still over with me. First time I saw Missy was in 100, West Virginia, at a little show that the guys from UWF were coming to do, and I was squatting on one of those little toilets that didn't have a toilet stall, and Missy walked in with a full-length mink coat, the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen, and although I have not been naked in her presence since that time, I have been naked plenty of times when I have thought of her. Terry, this is your night, and for everybody here, you know, and I'm not going to tell a joke about Al. Ken's here. Ken Anderson. Ken Anderson is here. And for Mark Lewin and Sir Oliver Humperdinck and Luna Vachon, who I teamed up with. And, 1991, referee Dick Kroll, of course Terry Runnels, Terry, all of us, we hold you in the highest respect, and I could not be more honored than to help be part of this and help close this show. You are a true legend, and I am proud to call you my hero and my mentor.
I love you, Cactus. I love you, Cactus. I'm going to bring you. Okay, I love you, Cactus. I love you. I love you.